Hello folks, this is Ben Gussel. How's it going? It's a nice evening here in March in Kenmore. And I just had my close shave with the cops. They didn't see me, I don't think. Feeling dangerous. Hey, anything, someone says, suburbs are kind of, nothing ever happens in the suburbs. No action ever happens. That's probably one of the reasons why many of us like to live in suburbs. We feel dangerous when we drive by a cop with our phone, not in the right place, not having a holder for it and stuff. Well, So anyway, I don't know again how long these videos last. My phone at least sometimes has this thing where it just shuts off. So I've done, it's been a while since I've had a kind of a neighborhood walk video anyway, but I don't know how, so we'll see how this goes. I'm feeling a little bit more calm. It's amazing. I know somebody that I've mentioned before, Vegetable Police, Mr. Casey. I always forget his last name, but up in Canada, Toronto, Canada, he's big into this grass-fed lamb all the time. He has grass-fed lamb, bacon, and pineapple and coconut water, pineapple juice, or freshly squeezed pineapple and coconut water. That's his current diet. He's kind of a interesting boy. But yeah, that lamb is always makes me feel so good. It's very good. I've been making some videos about, what is wrong with the world. And so this one's not going to be too long. I'm going to just kind of wrap up, because I was talking about more the West, more Europe and with paganism in Europe and Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Islam being debatably more Eastern. But anyway, so this video I'm talking just about what is wrong with the world in the East. So this is Hinduism, Buddhism, etc. And so, maybe China and India have the lion's share of, this is almost a cultural thing. So it's hard to pin it on religion because Eastern religions are different than monotheistic Western religions, outside of even paganism, where paganism and Eastern religions sometimes are similar. It's just anything that's not monotheistic is different than monotheism. There's just very different ways of seeing the world. Whether it's East or West. So let's start with what is wrong with Hinduism. So again, this is not going to be a very long video because I really try not to have a bone to pick with East Asia so much, because I'm always more familiar with European Americans, basically them being my home base territory, and other Americans as well. People that are from other countries and cultures, they're always kind of somewhat more on the let's play nice kind of mentality, because I just not as familiar with you guys and whatever. But Hinduism, well, I mentioned to you guys I wasn't going to get into theology too much with my last religion thing, and I'm still not going to do that in this regard. But really, in all honesty, it's from what I know about India. For instance, with Hinduism, it's the caste system that to me doesn't seem right. But I kind of understand how it happened, but you can go a lot of directions with that, whether it's racial or something else. It's kind of Europe had its own version of the caste system as well. And of course, I don't really buy reincarnation, although it's a very interesting, again, I wasn't going to get into theology too much of this, but it's a very interesting idea. General Patton, for instance, believed that he was once a Roman general or something. So, I think some things are just, I don't know if I agree with them, but they're still intriguing in some respects. That would be reincarnation. I really don't have a bone to pick with Hinduism. I think Hindus are amazing, great folks. I don't know, again, a whole lot about, a lot of people I know that are Indian, East Indian, don't really chat much about the religious side of Hinduism. A lot of folks from India aren't really Hindus, or they're just kind of Hindus in name, just like, you know, French are Catholic in name. Some Italians. Anyway. So, of course, you have the hardcore Italians and the hardcore Irish, especially Spanish, more real Catholic, Mexican and stuff. But anyway, so whatever. Buddhism, though, I have a little bit more contact with. I think, just like with pagan religions, Buddhism, we're talking about all kinds of stuff. It's not monotheistic in nature. So it's great. I mean, it's, again, just like we trained of thought before with paganism, it's not what you say that you believe that sounds off. It's what you don't talk about. And because Buddhists believe a lot of great things, and I've actually been to a Buddhist temple, Cambodian type, and yeah, I mean, I don't have any, you know, Buddhists are great folks. So, I don't know, again, I mentioned this video wasn't going to be very long. It's true, it's not. Shintoists, Taoists, I mean, I just, you know, again, if we're not talking about theology so much, we're talking about what's wrong. There are things that are obviously very wrong with the way that, you know, China is. We know about a lot of these issues. I would suggest that there's some really good folks that talk about China in particular. I've been watching some of his videos. I can't remember the name of course, his YouTube channel offhand. But I encourage you guys, there's some really great content, you know, out there about China. Things that can help you understand the country better, the government especially. The people are easier to understand always than the government. Just like Americans. But I think, you know, the Chinese can be very private, can be, but not really as much as some. I think it's just that a lot of folks from China are worried that what they say, you're going to get in trouble, right? You're going to get in trouble with the government. It's very wrong. That's what's, you know, talk about what's wrong in the world. One of the things that's wrong with the world is Chinese government, but we all know when it comes to things that I've mentioned before in earlier videos in this train of thought, what's wrong with the world, the American government is quite a bit more evil than any other government. You know, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when you're the most powerful nation in the world, and your leaders, looking at your leaders, if they're not treating weaker nations with respect and deference, and we're not going to bother you. You know, if they're messing with them, and they say, oh, we're doing this because we want democracy everywhere. That's, you know what they want. It's not, I don't know if it's, yeah. It's not even what, you know, some of the leaders of the nation want. It's what, anyway. Yeah, that's the Illuminati train of thought. The wealthy, more for themselves and less for everyone else. Let's use the U.S. military for our, I've heard it all before, I still do believe it. It's just a question of to what extent certain things are true. We don't know. Anyway, we will find out at some point. But, so, really, we're talking about Asia. What's wrong with Asia? Well, you know, I just still feel like democracy has given Americans stronger voice in being able to say what they say. Like this YouTube video right now, what I'm talking about right now. We can do this without any punishment and stuff in the United States. In Asia, not quite the same story, but it kind of depends on which nation you're talking about. Japan, I think you're okay. You know, South Korea, you're okay. I'm not sure about Vietnam. nobody really criticizes the Vietnamese government. I mean, I haven't heard too much in the way of critiques of the Southeast Asian governments, really. I mean, coming my way, I haven't looked into it very much. No, it's all people talking about, well, Russia and Europe and China and Asia. And so, yeah, I mean, it's an issue. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up here. Just a sec. But of course, you know, when I talk to people from Asia about religion, without even getting to theology, you're talking mostly really about what are your thoughts? What are your what's your nature? You know, really, it's great that the Eastern religions are more into just you know, life. They just talk about life, you know, because religion is life, but you know, it's a little less of this list of rules. You know, in Asia, it's a bit, but it's a bit more of a. It's just easy to talk to Asians sometimes about religion because, again, there's kind of. I already know that, you know, it's not quite like the Ten Commandments, although they might probably do agree with the Ten Commandments. It's a bit more of a. Yeah, I mean, do you respect your parents? Do you, you know, keep yourself, are you a good boy? A good girl? You know? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, are you profane? Obviously, probably don't murder, but, I mean, I don't know. You can just go through all these character things, but there's a lot of just kind of, are you more of a spiritual person? Or more of a material kind of person, you know, why? Goodness knows, in Asia, I'm not saying that, I mean, okay. It's just, oh, I know, here we go again about China or India, but, you know, money is a big deal throughout the world, and it seems to be a really big deal in Asia, and I think I know why that is, you know. It's just the question is, what would you do to get more money? To what extent would you, what would you do? Would somebody enter prostitution? You have a story, you know, in Les Miserables about Fantine that has just forced into prostitution to support a daughter. So, I mean, sometimes there's no easy answers to some things. Human survival is a big thing. I realize that there's a lot of, you know, trust me, I know what I'm talking about here, but not as much as some folks that actually live in China and see this stuff go on. But look, prostitution is everywhere. It's just, I've heard of some crazy things that happen in Asia, and I think that that's just something that's very wrong. That's why I'm mentioning this right now. But again, all this stuff that I'm talking about, because Asia is way the devil over across the ocean. You know, I mean, like, I'm most familiar with the United States and Canada, and to an extent Mexico, and just Europe culture somewhat, and I know Asians over here, so I kind of have some connection with Asia, but not really directly. It's Asian Americans we're talking about, for the most part. But, you know, in my orchestra, there's a, you know, Japanese lady, my age, about or so, that we talk about a lot of things. She's basically American, but I mean, I don't know, everybody's an American in a way. If you want to be an American, you can be an American. It's okay. You don't have to be, oh, I don't know, Mr. All-American boy, blonde, blue-eyed, quarterback or something. That's just, you know, whatever. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this guy up here. So these are some things that are wrong with Asia, but trust me, I mean, in my opinion, whatever's wrong with Asia, you know, to me it's just not, it's vexing, but it's more troubling what's happening over here in the United States, and Europe to an extent, with Illuminati and stuff, so, in a way. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Take it. Bye.